Today, we got lucky enough to sit down with a true ambassador of motorcycle culture, Randy Detroit Hayward. Detroit isn't just a collector, he's a Harvard-educated teacher, vintage bike pilot, and curator of the Detroit Antique Motorcycle Show and the Traveling Black History Museum. He's dedicated his life to preserving stories of early American motorcycles and the riders who are often overlooked by mainstream history. Randy is one of the most exciting personalities in the industry, so you don't want to miss this
There's
one.
always been a love for the sport, and once we get out there and do the sport, we eventually will have a love for each other, even against the sign of the time.
Welcome to the One Gang Worldwide podcast, your ultimate ride into the world of motorcycles. Visit cyclesworldwide.com, where we offer a completely free marketplace for everything motorcycles. Join our One Gang community where you can connect, share info, and swap stories with riders from all over the world. Join for free at cyclesworldwide.com and be a part of the One Gang community right now.
Welcome to the show. Today we have an absolute 100% legend. We've got Randy Detroit Hayward with us. We are so excited to have you, man. We've been looking forward to this. We met you at Born Free and with Carl Ardo. You were one of the kindest guys ever, and you're an eccentric, awesome personality that spans through generations. We can't wait to get to know you more.
Thank you. Well, you know, eccentric means crazy, so you're right about that.
Crazy's a good thing when it comes to our industry, though. So that's a good thing. But hey, sir, in all sincerity, brother, thank you so much, man. I know you got a schedule that could choke a horse. So thanks for taking the time to come on. The first thing we do here, man, we do a skit called Break the Ice. Kind of get some fun questions out there, man. Get a chance to get to know you. Then we'll get it into our our normal chronological life of Randy Detroit. So we'll start off with question one. If you could bring one historical figure on a cross-country ride, who are you picking and why?
Wow, Bessie Stringfield.
Nice. Okay, cool.
All
right.
She rode during the Green Book era when folks weren't allowed, people of color in particular, black folks, and here she was a woman when a lot of women wasn't riding. And so I know I would be riding with someone super brave. So I'm riding with Bessie.
All right, that's a great answer, man. All right. Beside you, give me your Mount Rushmore of your favorite builders.
If I'm not up there, it ain't no Mount Rushmore. No, I'm joking.
Beside you, that you're already up there, man. Let's do the next.
No,
your next wave.
it would be the 39 crew, which would be Sugar Bear, Ron Fitch,
Nice,
Arlen Ness,
nice.
and Billy Lane.
All right, great one. I know you and Billy are super tight, so. All right, best advice you ever received and still live by.
Be flexible.
All right, good one. That's a great one. Okay. What's one lesson every young person should get for free, but usually learn the hard way?
Don't jump off that roof, it's too high.
All right. Hey, that's a good idea because pertains to everything in life. So yeah, for sure. Great one. All right. What's a Detroit moment from any point in your life that still gives you the chills?
Confronting the guy, thinking I was tough, and act like I was going up under my seat, didn't have no heater, and he did. And took off running, and a friend of mine didn't. And that let me know I shouldn't be with that friend anymore.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Thanks for that honesty.
And I hung out with that friend because a lot of people in the cemetery in prison for machismo,
Right. Mm. Yeah. Ego's always the worst killer for men. All right. If your garage was a classroom, what would be written on the chalkboard above your workbench?
Do it.
Do it. Nice. Okay. Yes. You're on a cross-country trip on the bike and your playlist is stuck on one artist, who do you hope it is?
Wow, that's a good one. Man, that's. I want to name a bunch of folks, but
There's no rules to this thing.
Curtis Mayfield.
Curtis Mayfield. Okay, good one. All right. What's a city that surprised you with its love for old bikes and Black motorcycle culture?
None.
No, man, that sucks.
Because, well, here's the deal. I'm on this mission to get folks to know. And the folks that know, but as a collective city. So I would probably have to say Detroit, because
Detroit.
so many Black clubs, motorcycle clubs, their mother chapter started out of Detroit.
Okay. What's something about Randy Detroit people see but might not understand?
I'm super nice, but I will punch you straight in the face if you disrespect me or my kids.
Okay, awesome. When people say Detroit, they also combine it with the word legend. I know we do when Ben and I talk off camera. What does that mean to you, and how have you inspired and positively affected others?
Wow, that used to bother me to hear that, because I was looking at all these great luminaries, and Ron Finch said, no one is promoting the sport like you. And someone else told me it's not longevity, it's impact. So I've embraced it. And my biggest thing is to get people to understand this is a sport, and to try to welcome folks in it. And that's why I do my show, to welcome people into the sport of motorcycling.
Amen.
Awesome, man. Great answers. You finished up the break the ice section, man. Now let's get into your history, man.
We're
stoked for this part.
I want a diploma. I want something.
We'll get it in the mail. I'll put one together for you.
Without budget.
Well, man, yeah, it'll be on a beverage napkin or something.
Okay.
Man, let's start back in the beginning. I think we all know where you grew up, but what was family life like? Where specifically did you grow up in Detroit? And what were the early interests for you when you were a youngin'?
Before motorcycles.
Well, I started in an area called Delray. It's a part of Detroit, still a rough part of Detroit. On Salvage Street, went to Cary Elementary, and those are some of my earliest memories. Cutting the forks off of bicycles and making them choppers. This is 8, 9 years of age. We moved at about 10 to the west side of Detroit. Making go-karts out of 2x4 with just enough nails in the center so it can turn, and borrowing shopping carts from the local market. They didn't go back, but we was borrowing and hooking those wheels off, because they had great bearings in them, and pushing go-karts and jumping off ramps. And then the other part, because people know I don't drink and drug. Nobody ever asks why, but in Delray, watching my brother abuse every drug under the sun made me know I didn't want to do that.
Man.
And so Delray kind of made me. Then we moved to the west side of Detroit, and we were like the Jeffersons, moved on up to a deluxe apartment, my mother was George and Wheezy then. And so, and then sneaking off, it's not like it was where you had public transportation that went out to the suburbs, but sneaking off as a preteen to look at the 125s and the dirt bikes, which we could never was told we couldn't get, and chasing that dream, as a lot of Detroiters who grow up in the Motor City, growing up around this industry, it was always about something moving under some power of gasoline.
Yeah. Crazy.
Man, that's cool. What a cool childhood.
Yeah, it was.
So you mentioned your brother. How many siblings did you have?
Man, it was 8 of us in total.
Wow.
That's what I thought. I thought you had a big
I'm the second to the last. My brother came along, Andre, and I'm still trying to fight him because he took my title as the baby boy. It's no.
Hey, do all your siblings, are they into motorcycles or cars, stuff like that? Or
Everyone-
were you kind of like the oddball out?
Everyone was in the cars. My brother, that's a year older than me, we were the only two in the motorcycles. And now that legacy is continuing with a nephew and niece, Eric, and his wife, Sandra. So we want to make sure the legacy continues. But it was always cars and hot rods and in effect tracks. And I'm about to show my age. Johnny Lightning 500, you know, the pre-electric when you hit the stick and it went, or sizzlers when you put the gas tank, gas pump and you charge the car. So because we grew up around the industry, we were all into cars, which led to hot rods and so forth.
Nice. Hey, let's get into a little bit into your military background. I mean, first of all, thank you for your service, numero uno. But
What's up, One Gang? I used to think that if I spent big money on riding gear with a logo on the back, I was getting top quality. I gave Leather Up a shot. I wasn't sure at first, could I really get quality gear without spending a fortune? But after putting tens of thousands of miles on their jackets and vests, I had my answer. No busted zippers, no loose stitching, just solid, well-made gear that lasts. Leather Up carries trusted brands like Milwaukee Leather, Hot Leathers, and more, with gear for every rider and every budget. Plus, their customer service actually cares and picks up the phone, something rare these days. So do yourself a favor, check out leatherup.com. Whether you need jackets, vests, chaps, boots, helmets, or luggage, they've got you covered. And because you're part of the One Gang Worldwide family, use code CW20 at checkout for 20% off your entire order. Stop overpaying, gear up with Leather Up, and see the difference yourself.
how did that experience shape your discipline growing up, your worldview, and eventually your work as a mentor?
Wow. Desi Jones, the neighborhood dad. I had both my parents. Both my parents were very involved. I saw my dad go to work every single day. I saw my dad go to church every Sunday. So I don't have a woe is me and this guy was our father, but he was an extended father. We were a community. So Desi Jones, who lived around the corner, was the one who convinced me to go into the military. And it saved my life. I was 18, 19, just starting to get into trouble, doing crazy stuff. And then, I wasn't no gang guy. I can't give you no stories of stepping over bodies and trying to, but I saw some stuff and I was like, oh man, and Desi Jones was the one who taught us to play sports and all of that. And one day he said, what are you going to do with your life? And I told him I got it good. I have a girlfriend, a car, and a job. And when he started telling me about how great I would look coming home to my parents in a military jacket, imagine being on the porch. I went to Recruiter like the next couple of days, and then I saw
He sold you, man. He was a good salesman then.
Desi Jones probably saved my life. A lot of my friends who stayed lost their way because, as Lev Vygotsky says, we develop by the environment we're in and zone of proximal development. You develop by the zone you're in. So I was able to change zones, went into the Air Force, served 8 years. So no, I can't give you no war stories and I did shoot an M16, but not like the Marine and the Army. And so,
Hey man, you came back, and that's all that counts.
yeah, I was glad to serve. I did 8 years. First tour was, of course, Texas basic training. Then I went from Lackland to Wichita Falls. Wichita Falls, I got my first orders I was blessed. Went to Florida, lived right on the beach at Cocoa Beach, saw the Challenger
Nice.
explode from my balcony.
wow.
I've seen U-2 spy planes fly off every day. I've seen the SR-71 from Korea. From Florida, I went to Korea, did a remote tour, but my son was just born. So I paid for my wife and son to come to Korea. I believe America can be saved by us raising our children. Fathers need to be more involved. I'm not saying I was the best dad,
Yes, sir.
but I've tried. And so brought them over to Korea, then left Korea. My last tour duty was at the seat of the American Revolution. I was stationed in Hanscom Air Force Base in Bedford, Massachusetts. And if you know about America, you know Bedford, Concord, Lexington. Matter of fact, my house was a half mile from where Paul Revere was captured. Well, side note,
Wow.
captured, he was drunk, he fell off his horse, but that's a discussion for another time. And that was my last tour of duty, and but the military let me see that the world was bigger than the block. It was bigger than Detroit. You know, I remember flying into Korea, and it was terrifying in that here I am, this snot-nosed kid out of Detroit who already going to travel to Texas and Florida, was flying into this foreign country. And we had to stop in Okinawa. And as the plane landed, I remember looking out the window, and my only frame of reference was what we watched on Saturday morning. We watched Three Stooges, cartoon, and karate movies. And I remember looking out the window in Godzilla. And I remember looking out the window, and my only frame of reference was Godzilla. And I remember thinking, man, these trucks are just like on the movie. I've since used that as this pivotal point in my life to make sure I travel constantly. Because your frame of reference just cannot be the TV. It's very limiting. And,
That's right.
most people go, "Oh man, that's funny." No, it's actually sad. That was my only frame of reference. I've since gone back through Japan and China and South Korea, and my worldview has tremendously expanded. And so, but I remember being on that plane with that stopover in Japan, and then being stationed in Korea. And I love saying that to the day. Man, I lived overseas for a year. A lot of people will never move out of their city.
Right.
Yep.
You know, and some sadly won't even travel more than 50 miles.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So the military saved me. You know,
Good.
my life.
Good.
That's huge for perspective, man. Definitely respect that.
As we get off the block, I tell kids, get off the block.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's
it's huge.
so important for people to see different cultures, the way people live. It's just unfortunate. Like you're saying, most of the people are stuck in their four walls, and everything that they know is in those four walls. But once they get out, they see how big the world is, and there's actually good out there. It's not all bad, and it's not what all the media portrays all the time.
Get me to going down this rabbit hole. I tell people,
Me too, man. Me too.
people ask me, why don't I talk politics? I mean, if we're having dinner, I talk politics. If we're sitting in my living room or your living room, I talk politics, religion, race. But I always say that this is hard to talk politics to people who've never traveled.
That's right.
Who
Sure.
never traveled. And because they don't travel extensively, politicians get to take advantage of it. So that's it for my political speech. Because once you
Nice.
start traveling, you go, the world's not like these folks are painting it, you know.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, we have
Right.
political views, Dante said, the great philosopher said, the hottest places in hell is reserved for those in a moment of moral crisis maintain their neutrality. I don't take a neutral position. I take a side. I just don't discuss it all the time. My social media platform is to promote the sport of motorcycle. But I do have a clear opinion, a strong opinion, and none of it is based on opinion. It's based on facts. So if anybody want to chat it up, buy me dinner, at least court.
You heard it here first, man.
You got to pay.
Hey, only lobster and steak gets you a political conversation with Detroit. So
I take White Castles. I'm from Detroit. I tell you, I'm a two gate.
White Castle, nice. Well, let's rewind a little bit. I want to segue into your love of the vintage. It sounds like your interest in motorcycles started when you were young, probably 8 or 9, and going out to see those 125s in the suburbs. When did your interest in the early day bikes, the vintage bikes, the classics, Hendersons, Harleys, Indians, when did that arise? What drew you to those?
Man, I got a friend, Pete Maxwell, out of Cleveland. I met a few years ago, 6, 7 years ago, and he has a saying that, you know, he loved weirdos, and maybe that's why we're cool. Because I was a weird kid. I just like everything. I was very inquisitive about the past, everything. And so that, I have no doubt, led to looking at vintage vehicles. But then when you look at them and you see the aesthetics, the working mechanics, right? Because now you open the hood, it's a computer. A car is right now a computer with 4 wheels.
Yeah,
absolutely, man.
But to see a overhead valve set up with exposed rockers, I mean, or oil being flung everywhere, or the loudness of my Dodge. I had a car that had a 318 in it, and I did a California rake on it because it was visible, it was tangible, you could change it up. So I really don't, I can't pinpoint it to a specific thing, but I do know when I was down, we would go south every year. And we would take I-75 all the way, and we would turn off at Perry, an hour and a half outside of Atlanta, and run that into a little town called Hawkinsville. And when I started hearing my dad say this is the house he built with his father, and down the street is the house he built for my mother when they got married. They had about 150 acres. Wow. And I started collecting the tools. I mean, I was collecting all the tools. He threw them away later. I'm like, what? You know? But I was just intrigued that his hands and my grandfather's hands built a house with these things.
Yeah.
Before they sold the property, I took one of the windows out of the house. So I've always been intrigued with this sense of what came before us. As I even say about the people who ride in the luminary, we're only able to see over the horizon further because we're standing on their shoulders, right? It's the same with these mechanical bikes. Everybody loves a knucklehead, right? That's it. You can't have a collection without a knucklehead. My thing is you can't have a collection without a Harley Davidson pea shooter, because that was the real first production overhead valve.
That's right.
I probably shouldn't say this till I buy some more pea shooters and make the price go up, right? So it was always just love for antiques, and that's what started me on the journey of collecting antique bikes and Black Americana and newspapers from the 16 and 1700s and so forth.
Did you take after your dad as far as mechanically inclined?
No.
But what did your dad do? What did your dad do?
My dad worked at, I found this out before he passed. He started out at Ford cleaning paint barrels. So my dad worked at one of the big three. And then he went over and he worked at Pepsi Cola on the line. And that's where he retired from before he.
Gotcha.
And my mother
so here's kind of I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Your mother
My
what?
mother was an educator. Even though she only went to the 11th grade, she always pushed us to get the best education, or at least get a high school degree, because she didn't and my dad didn't. So my mother was a teacher's aide. She was my teacher's aide. Matter of fact, she got me paddled in class because I was writing in the book. I'll talk about that later. I'm still upset. Mine was a narc.
That's a tough one when your mom's your teacher, man. That's funny.
My mom was a narc. I didn't know.
A narc.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Well, one more question on the vintage side of things, and this is kind of an open-ended sort of opinion-based. It can be big topic though. What, in your opinion, is the difference between restoring history versus just customizing it?
Man, great question. Goodness gracious. Money.
Yeah, sure.
Um,
That's a big one.
that's a big one. So
It's a huge one.
I have a 1925 Henderson that I bought from Dave Sickalone. His dad was known as Mr. Henderson. I remember buying this bike, and it was crusty and this and that, and I wanted to keep it that way. But I was building for Born Free, and I thought it had to be so pretty. Born Free has since taught me build the way you want to build. And I remember thinking, no, this is my first time. I'm representing the culture. I spent so much money restoring that bike and then taking a sharp left to make it into a board track. Yet I don't even want to ride it.
Right.
The value has increased so much. I am going to put it on the track, believe it or not. But when you restore, it becomes lunacy, because you're trying to find the right washer, the right this, and there's a place for that in the industry. There's no longer a place for me in doing that in the industry, because after a friend of mine died with his collection, I've talked about this before, I just want to ride my stuff. I just want to make it the way I want to make it and ride my stuff. Sugar Bear says, build it the way you want to build it. So now, I love unrestored garage style fine that has people going, man, does that run right? On, Patina and her sister Rust are my best girlfriends. I'm just telling you.
Nice.
So,
Yeah. Hey, it's the real deal. So, hey, tell us a little bit about the birth of Detroit Antique Motorcycle Show. What made you want to preserve not just bikes, but the culture around them?
well, you're going to hear it the first time. I talk about it within some circles. I guess I told somebody the other day they're Oprahing me, making me tell all the stuff. So y'all are. I've been doing this. I've been collecting. I've had cars. I still got about 5 or 6 hot rods. And sometimes the sport wasn't always welcoming, right? And there was a couple shows I couldn't buy an invitation. And it wasn't about me. I just started thinking about all the people in their garages, turning wrenches, spending their checks to take care of their family, and building these projects over years, who never get to just commensurate with that motorcycle community. They're not there for the trophy. They're not there for the recognition. They just want to show somebody what they spent the last 3 or 4 years building in their garage. So I decided to do a show that would honor legends and also honor those folks who are turning renters, who don't have the $1 million shop, the $50,000 shop. They're building in their living room, they're building in their basement, they're building in their garage, they're getting yelled at by their spouse, but it's keeping them sane. And so I was showing the bike probably about 20 years ago, and people were walking up, and excuse my crassness, they would go, damn, every time, every single time, damn. And I said, one day I'm going to do something with that. Fast forward 10 years ago, a little more 10, the wife and I were talking about a show. She said, go for it. I said, it's enough shows. She said, there's not enough shows like yours that you're planning that'll be about the people because it's not about the bikes. So I played with a title. They call me Detroit. I love antique motorcycles. And it like, wow, Detroit antique motorcycles. Damn, right?
Damn. Nice.
So I took it to my pastor. I worked for him as well. You know, hey, Pastor White, is this is gonna be the title of my company and my show? Is that cursing? He said, yeah, that's close. I said, no, it doesn't have all this. So that was the birth of the title of Detroit Antique Motorcycles. We're in our 7th year. This year, we've done more than 7 shows because we now pick a city, 2 cities outside of Detroit and 1 country. So we started going out of the country last year. We went to Italy. This year we'll be in Australia. We hope to honor Kiwi Mike, who has a great approach to restoring Indian motorcycles and making them available for new riders with disc brakes and so forth. And so our home base show is Detroit. And in that title, the word "the," Detroit, and show will always be capitalized. And then other places you'll see that city, like I'm doing Sturgis in 2 weeks, so it'll be damn Sturgis. I did Florida in March. I've done San Francisco. I've done some other cities. I'm getting old. I'm trying to remember. San Francisco was great. Gate Bridge. We have a lot of cities inviting us to come out, so we're working right now to get to some of these cities, so we can bring our show to folks.
You finding out there's a lot of great hidden talent out there all over the world, huh, man? Not just the stuff that we see in the pages or on Instagram, just people that are really, really talented.
Yeah, it is so much talent. I just talked to Haley out of Canada. She's a chopper builder. Unbelievable.
Really?
She's unbelievable. You got a young lady who just came on the scene, The Truth. They call her The Truth, out of Los Angeles. You got our modern day Michelangelo, and that's Aaron Lovelace out of the West, out of California. This guy is doing stuff. Our job is not to say the next generation is terrible. Our job is to help promote the next generation. So not only are we talking about people who've been building for years, we're showing builders who might have just started. We're showing guys who bought an antique motorcycle and put 2 mirrors on it. This is where I get in trouble. I call them builders. You're 19 years old and you decided to change the mirrors. To me, you're on your journey for building.
That's right, man. That's right. That's awesome, man.
Encouraging.
That's so awesome.
It's cool to hear you still got the travel bug. And speaking of another great excuse to travel, you turned your passion into a mobile cultural classroom. So your mobile museum tells stories of Black riders and pioneers. Let's talk about the mission behind the Traveling Black History Museum, how that came about, and how people react to it.
First of all, I am writing down what you just said. That's going to be our tagline. Mobile.
We'll send it to you, man.
I like that. Mobile cultural experience. Look here, mobile. I'm writing it down.
Yeah, you got it, man.
Awesome.
Experience.
We won't take
Hey,
any
as long as we get to be a part of Detroit, we're good, man.
Hey, you're a part of
any shape or form, brother.
We're connected. So with this love for history, I started going down rabbit holes. And the more I went down these rabbit holes, the more I found out information that wasn't being shared. And that led to me saying, it's so important that we share this information. So I've been collecting Black Americana for almost 40 years. And then it just spider webs, right? And so as with everyone who are familiar with what they call one of the greatest American motorcycle movies, um, uh, uh, Easy Rider. You go down this rabbit hole. Well, for me, one of the greatest American motorcycle movies. I see that poster back there. For me, one of the greatest American motorcycle movies is The Biker Boys, because it tells the story of LA racers who race in the midway point between San Francisco and LA. But I digress. So look up Biker Boys and check it out. So
Yeah,
Easy
I've seen it.
Rider is this iconic American movie. And we watch it, we know the bikes, the choppers, and then the first time I ever heard black folks in reference to that movie was with Jesse James, the builder. Then that sent me down a rabbit hole of learning about Ben Hardy and Cliff Vaughn. Then you start delving more into the story of Sugar Bear, who knew Ben Hardy. And all of a sudden, I'm on this hunt for all this history. And then Stephen Wright, the great author, was collecting, and he had all these newspaper articles from the teens about these black racers who raced from 1913 to 1924. And when a friend told me about that, I started reading Dave Morrow. I always get his name wrong. His blog used to be Deadly Dave's blog. And I'm learning about these guys, these racers out of the South. And then I started racing 4-track with Billy Lane. And there's Dave. And I mean, I lose it. I'm fanboying. I'm like, oh my God, you're the great. And then he saved my life because I got fixation and sensation going around the track and almost hit the wall. And he told me about which turn and how to pick lines, right? But he said something to me so important. I agree and slightly disagree. He said, you're the person to tell the story. So keep telling the story. And then I said, thank you. But once I give it to someone, it's their job to tell the story as well. And so I first did an interview with Dave and just talked about these guys that nobody knows about that raced from 1913 to 1924. And all racing began to slow down because hot rods started to show up on the scene, car racing. So the number one champion, Hal Demon Wade Ware, in 1922 went to racing cars, and his biggest rival, Bones the Outlaw, we have yet to find his given name. Bones the Outlaw became the champion for the next 2 years. And so these are names we want people to know about. And this was at a time when the FAM and the AMA didn't allow black folks to participate in the sport. As you know, most sports were segregated in the early 1900s, so it was no different for motorcycling. So the Federation of American Motorcyclists banned black folks from participating in the sport. Hence, the first outlaws, not biker gangs, the first outlaws to the sport of motorcycling was the black guys who pushed the envelope and still got on the track. Because in the newspaper, it said, these outlaws can't race, your track will be sanctioned. And so this history is rich. When we think about outlaws, we think about motorcycle clubs in association with one percenters, but that didn't come about to the Hollister event in California. I believe it was 47 with the Life magazine and so forth, right? But this history connects us all. When I speak to 1% clubs and outlaws, I talk about this history that is all of our history. If you're wearing a diamond patch, this is your history too, because you want to know where the word outlaw came from. And so my job, I have people now donating artifacts, putting artifacts on loan so their story can get told. There's clubs, black clubs they're saying black club, we're losing a black club once a week. They're just disappearing. And the kids are throwing the cuts away and the memorabilia. So my job is to try to share it and show how we're connected.
Well, why do you think that is?
We do that. That is not only per se just a black problem. we sadly box up everything that our parents have. We say, we don't want this old stuff. And it goes into storage out to the trash. You think about it,
Basically,
you
get
know,
rid of history then.
get rid of history and don't even look at it from that historical context of, man, this story has to be told. And so for me, from a cultural standpoint of Black bikers, and a lot of Black bikers don't know that the chopper scene took off in California, right? They don't know that their uncle or grandfather or father rode. And so I'm just sharing this history. And then people say, why don't you share other history? That's somebody else's job. For me, this is just a rich history I want to get told and get out there. And people get a chance to see some of that as I travel around the country with some of the artifacts.
So since you started this, what's one story, what kind of like Bones the Outlaw, what's one story that always hits hard for you?
That these guys were racing in 1913 against all odds. It's still just, I mean, I know some of the stuff I deal with today. We're talking about 1913. You show up to the track where you're not supposed to be on the track. But within that story, and I apologize, I don't have the name here, one of the biggest philanthropic organizations as a collective is motorcycling. We give so much. I don't care who you're racing against, you want them to be safe. So one of the stories that came out of the team, so Hal Demon Wade Ware worked for Indian dealer in Atlanta. And he was quite dominant. And then there was some cats out of Tennessee that was racing, and they were having a big race in Atlanta. And when they saw this guy practice, Hal Demon Wade Ware was going to lose. What they did was went to the Indian dealer and borrowed the motor of this young white phenom. He eventually died on the track. He would have been one of the greatest racers we talk about. They took his motor out of his race bike, factory motor, and put it in Hal Demon Wade's bike. This is in the paper, right? This is written. And Hal Demon Wade retained his title. So that showed me there's always been a love for the sport. And once we get out there and do the sport, we eventually will have a love for each other, even against the sign of the time. I mean, I get out. Right. I'm one of the few Black guys racing vintage tank shift bikes right now. A young guy I was mentoring who eventually got the flag this past March at Sons of Speed, James Burgess. Man, he can ride. We're just carrying on a legacy. But at the track, I watch all kind of people switch motors out. Hey, man, your motor blew. Here's a motor. So to hear that story all the way back to the teams speaks volume. I keep telling people, if I'm ever going to run for office, my whole cabinet would be motorcyclists. You know,
That's right.
They would have my back.
They got your back.
They would have my back. I know I would be loved by the motorcyclists.
That's right, for sure.
Hey guys, the show will be back in 1 minute right after a word from our sponsor.
Hey, One Gang, tired of feeling like your butt's taking more of a beating than your bike on those long rides? Introducing Butt Buffer, the ultimate solution to saddle soreness. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. These cushions are made from medical-grade viscoelastic polymer, scientifically crafted to eliminate pressure points and keep your circulation flowing. No more numb nuts or numb butts. And here's the best part. Butt Buffer cushions are made right here in the US for the last 30 years. From Harleys to Hondas, we've got a cushion to fit your ride perfectly. Plus, with styles ranging from sleek pebble polymer to luxurious sheepskin, there's a Butt Buffer for every rider's style. Get your Butt Buffer today at buttbuffer.com. That's buttbuffer.com. Your butt will thank you, and you'll ride longer and happier. We've got your butt covered.
Hey, let's get into a little bit about your work with the youth as the educator, the Spark session that you created. I think it's such an underrated part of you, but it really shows who type of guy you are in addition to behind the scenes. What do you try to ignite in the people who come through your garage and your programs? And talk a little bit about what the Spark session is.
Well, I say there's only three things you're supposed to do on this planet: that's serve, inspire, and love. I didn't want to be an educator. Matter of fact, I wanted to be a truck driver. I couldn't be a barber because I was never good. I'm not good at cutting my own hair. Thought about that. And so someone led me into education. One of my mentors, he said, "You'll be great. You got great storytelling. Young people need you." They led me into education. Got the paperwork, the certification. I became an educator. And now I'm trying to do that with young people in the sport. And so a young lady, Jade and Tiger, out of Milwaukee, has an organization called Biker Stuff. And under that is Spark. And I sit on the board for Biker Stuff. And we get to talk to these young people and get them active either with their mind or their hands. And what better way to develop discipline than to have someone on the track, focus, learning to work on the bikes. Because we keep thinking it's about bikes when it's really about developing young people to become focused adults. And so I had a few of the kids over at the museum, got to talk to them and show them my display that I'm so honored to have at the Harley-Davidson Museum. And this one young man, I teased him. I said, when we get on the track, I might beat you. And he said, I don't think so. We have to instill that type of confidence. And so that's what the Spark program does. It gets the young people motorcycles, certain level CC they start out with. They learn to wrench on the bike, and they get on the track. Safest place is on the track.
And your focus is more of kind of underprivileged kids to kind of get that out, or is it in general?
It's in general. I mean, if you see in Milwaukee, the Spark, they have a recruiting session that just ended for this upcoming year. It's open to anyone that wants to participate. But yes, there is a targeted effort in trying to save young people from the cruelties of the street. Absolutely. And we do that unapologetically. Mr. Jones did that for me. Janine Dibishaw did that for me when I was an undergrad student. Professor Lido did that for me, and saying you can go back and help.
It's awesome, man. We've had so many guests on the show over the last couple of years, and people like yourself that are in these positions to be able to inspire, always turn back to somebody who inspired them, So I love to see that passing of the torch from one person to another, because we all learn a lesson through our life, and to give back the way you do, man, just awesome. That just speaks characters of the type of dude you are. So thanks for sharing that story with us, man.
Thank you.
It's cool too. You mentioned the spider web for talking, sharing stories, but that spider web concept also goes into inspiration and mentorship. So that's really cool. Like Serge was saying, it's cool to see that torch get passed. I've got kind of a fun question for you. It might be really hard. It might be really easy. I'm not sure. But let's talk about your collection for a second. You spent decades collecting not just incredible stories, but also rare pieces, rare antiques, artifacts almost. Can you name your top 3 favorite finds?
Who are you working for? My wife? Who are you working for? My wife?
Nah, man, we're going to edit this section out so she doesn't hear it. And how much you
legal
spend.
team, in case she leaves, you want to know what I've been hiding? No, I will not share. No, you can share whatever.
That's so funny.
I think I went to see a mentor, as Barry Warlow says. Sometimes these mentors don't know they're our mentors. They're mentors from afar. Barry Warlaw is being inducted into the Sturgis Motorcycle Hall of Fame, and we were talking recently. So I had a lot of mentors from afar. And that's his line I'm using. So one of them is Jerry Turner. So I was buying parts and this and that, and I went into his shed. After 3 years of talking with him, he let me in his shed, and I saw this long frame, and it was
Trust.
It was trust. It was an Indian 4, but he told me you can't buy that unless you buy the Henderson motor with it. So that was an amazing find. My knucklehead, my 41 knucklehead with a sidecar out of St. Louis. That came about because I was helping a guy park his car in Kentucky and nobody was spotting him. So I ran over and backed him up. And he said, I recognize you from the Race of Gentlemen. Like, yeah. And he was like, hey, I just bought this car and the lady has a motorcycle. I said, no more bikes for me. And he showed me a picture and there was a knucklehead. And he gave me the price and I moved too fast. I'm like, I'll take it. Well, that's pretty expensive. And I was like, expensive is relative. And so I went to get the bike and I think he shared with her that it was worth 3 times what she was selling it for. And I put the money on the table. She says, no, I don't need money. And I told her it was worth a lot more than what she had offered. And we began to talk and I told her I could help her sell it. The deal was over. I wasn't going to get the bike. And after we chatted up, she said, I want you to be able to buy my husband's bike. And so she sold me the bike. And then the last one, probably the WR that I'm working on securing.
Nice. Nice.
I'm like, all 45s are 45s. I don't care about a WR. WR. I'm racing on the 45. And then 2 of the coolest people in this industry, y'all need to interview them, is Eric Bass and Jenny Bass. So I show up at a race, don't have a bike, I'm at Davenport. They said, you can race the WR. I'm like, okay. I raced that thing, it just kept pulling. It just kept pulling. So for months I kept saying, you want to sound listen? So I was able to get a WR.
Nice.
A friend of mine who's now retired, he said, at a certain age, you have to stop buying because you're going to go broke. Well, I did that a long time ago. Well, I shouldn't say that. They're like stocks and bonds. So
that's right.
I have enough motors now and enough frames to start putting things together.
And Detroit, I'll be honest with you. I have a confession to make. I think Serge and I could spend an entire day just on this one question, just hearing about what you've collected over the years, man.
The toy chest.
I feel like we could spend hours, man. I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, this is a conversation. That's what we do. I had Prism come by to do my garage, and I didn't want anybody to see my shop. I've since sold a lot of parts, but at the time I had all kind of stuff on the shelf. And I'm like, I told Jake, I don't know you. And so, I said, we'll do it in my living room where I turn renters as well. And part of it is we do these type of sit downs because we want to encourage people to collect, to build, to ride. But we also are cautious on who we let in our spaces, because we don't put a price tag. We ride these things. I now have moved a lot of stuff to storage to remain unnamed, but but I also ride the stuff, and I let people ride it. I let people ride it. People say, "Where do you keep your bikes?" I say, "All over." I'm now at the place I can start leaving rideable bikes in different cities that I go to frequently.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yep. So you don't have to ever travel. I want to touch back. You kind of touched on it a little bit about the 29 Indian, the inline 4, which became the Indian.
Right.
Can you take us into that? How did that all come about?
Well, I went to see, like I said, Jerry Turner. He sold me a 29 roller with a Henderson motor. and we think we're collectors and we actually just have OCD. So I went down this rabbit hole of buying 4-cylinder parts, frames, and all of that. And I wind up getting, may he rest in peace, friend of mine, T-Bone, he had a roller as well out of Illinois. And the deal was, whoever found a motor and couldn't afford it, we would call each other. So he called me and said, hey, I found an Indian 4 motor. So I found a gas-powered motor, picked it up, and I thanked him. He found a full bike. So he called me and said, hey, do you want to buy my roller? And I said, I can't afford that. And my friend has taught me, you don't pay too much, you just buy too early. And so I bought it. It's since tripled in value. So I bought his bike. I had 2 Indian 4s. The price of restoring the Indian 4 motor went through the roof. I got invited to Born Free. Well, before I got invited to Born Free, I went back down this rabbit hole of electric vehicles. I mean, I had it.
That's what I was getting to.
I had it bad. So I got these 4-cylinders, but I didn't like the look of the electric vehicles. And what sent me down the rabbit hole was looking for Willie G. I go to the 110th or 115th. They show a prototype of the Livewire, which to me is one of the best bikes on the planet. You can challenge me if you will. I dare you to line up with me and race one in the 8th mile. But
Right. They're launchers.
So I see this bike and I go, oh, if I ever did it, I would do this. I went home and sketched out what an electric bike would look like. To me, it would have to be vintage. And at the time, I had these 2 chassis, and I decided I would make this thing where I wouldn't disturb the chassis. Ran into a young man, Matthew, with Harry Mile. He's an EV engineer. Do not do an EV conversion without an EV engineer. You're going to hurt yourself really bad. And one of the guys on the team said, well, that may not fit. I said, listen, your job is to make sure I don't kill myself. This is the design. It's going to fit. And we was able to put all the components and hide the components in the Indian with an E.
Yeah.
And then we found out.
It's my favorite part about that bike.
Well, here's what's crazy.
So cool.
The painter of the tank is Josh Shaw, who restores Miller race cars. He does not work on any motorcycles for anybody. We're friends. He decided he would paint the tank. He put an E on it. And I was like, yes, at first. And then I was like, no. And I called him. He said, it's too late. Already painted. We come to find out in the EV world, there's a term referred to as little E and big E. And so it worked. And so I got the Indian with the E on it.
Into that. Yeah.
And we've since had it on the track. I've done a second 4-cylinder EV bike. And that was a Henderson for Born Free. And we put them on the track at Sons of Speed. And for the first time ever, raced 2 vintage electric motorcycles around the track.
That's awesome.
That's so cool. Well, speaking of Born Free, let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about your experience, what it's like to be invited as a builder to one of the biggest, we called it the Super Bowl of the motorcycle show world. What's that like for you?
Well, Born Free is Woodstock meets Choppers, right? Mm-hmm. I got an invitation 5 years ago and was traumatized. Like I said, comparison is the enemy of joy. I was on the elevator with Jimmy White, Grant Peterson, and Mike Davison. So they're 3 friends, all from California. Jimmy White and I step off the elevator. He said, do you know who those 2 other guys were? I said, no. He said, they own Born Free. I'm like, what? I want to make that show one day. Make it, not build for it. And a week or so later, they sent me an invitation to build. And I like, no, you got the wrong guy. I'm not on that level. It was intimidating. I said, everything after 1930 is new to me. And they said, build whatever you want. I'm like, what? I hadn't built a chopper yet, other than, like I said, the bikes. And I built that 25 Henderson. And every year I build, I said, I never want to do this again. And every year. You know, it was.
You gotta be. Yeah.
It is still one of the greatest invites. Uh, to be at, I mean, you all know, to be at Born Free. I don't know how people say they're into this and love choppers and have never gone to Born Free. I do not understand. It is unbelievable.
Ignorance.
Yeah. It's a great experience for sure. And what you brought this year was pretty sick too. You want to talk a little bit about that one?
Yeah, I wanted to do, I was torn between doing a 26 pea shooter and a big twin. I had a panhead motor sitting around. I got a couple of VL motors. I have a VL motor with a Coslow top end. I had some bottom knuckle cases that's pretty ratty. And I was like, well, what better piece to customize? So I started thinking about the panhead, and I had my name with Sugar Bear to get a front end. And as you come up in the queue, you know that's a great opportunity because nothing great. If it's not great, it's not worth waiting for, right? And his front ends are great. So I was trying to decide what over I would go, only to find out he started with short fork. So I went with a stock OEM length for a panhead. And two things I dislike. And chopper people, don't come after me. And if you do, I'll be here waiting. Two things. I never liked flames. Couldn't stand flames on bikes. Just didn't understand the lure.
I agree.
And could not stand what I call an imbalanced setup. 21 on the front, 16 on the back. Never understood it, right? I was probably more so coached in this build by the great Sugar Bear. Because when I told him what I was going to do, 18, 18 or 16, 16, which is a balanced zero style out of Japan, Bear said, yeah, build whatever you want, but that's not a chopper. I'm like, no, Bear, that's a chopper. He says, no. And he started to explain what they were doing in the 60s or 70s. Then I went and set on a friend of mine's setup, and I called Bear. And I know generationally, this probably didn't translate well. As soon as he answered the phone, I said, Bear, you think you're the man, which means by my generation, you are the man. So I hope it translated in that way. So,
Yeah.
so I did everything that I didn't like, and now I'm in love with flames and that 2116. And so the painter, again, Josh Shaw, I said, make it look like some that rolled right out the 60s. And I think he hit part with the paint.
That thing was insane. One of the most beautiful bikes there at the show, hands down. Hey,
he beat me up bad. I was like, oh, this bike can't stand it. I was ready to give up. No, I wasn't. I'll never give up. I said, if I go there with no motor, I'm going. If it had a bare front end on it, that's the jewelry. And so,
right.
But there's still things to do on it. I'm going to have it at Sturgis, I think. And so, yeah, I love the bike.
That's cool. Hey, let me ask you a question. Why do you think motorcycles have such a deep connection to identity, heritage, and storytelling, in your opinion, and your experience?
Because it's the only piece of equipment. I've answered this up. Talked about this before. It's the only piece of equipment you can be with a group of people, but you're still by yourself. You're not on a plane going somewhere. You're not on a bus going somewhere. You have to be hyper alert. And then the last thing, you got to like yourself, or at least try to discover yourself. Because if you ride across country and you don't like yourself, you're in trouble.
That's right.
It is a piece of machine that you can get really connected with. It is the very reason I like the live wire, because everyone says, oh, it's not a motorcycle. It's so quiet. I can get in tune with the bike and the environment around me. So the motorcycling, and you're probably going to get a lot of feedback. Don't ever have that guy on there again talking about electric.
Oh, screw that. Screw that.
2 wheels in a motor or a generator. I guess what they call electrical. I love it. So it is an opportunity to really be on the bike even when I ride with the club and we're 10 deep or 500 deep, you're still on that bike by yourself. Even when you're riding two up, that passenger in the back has to stay the course while you navigate the bike. And it's free. I mean, and I know people think that's a cliche. Oh, when I get on the bike, I'm free. The only people who don't say that is the people who don't ride. It is liberating in a way. As Harley had a campaign some years ago, freedom for the soul. That's exactly it. It is freedom for the soul.
Awesome.
I want to get your take on this, Detroit. What you see for the future. So, what's your take on where we're headed? Electric bikes, AI, younger riders. How do we keep, and what do you expect how do you think it'll turn out that we keep this train gathering steam?
I'm telling y'all gonna get a lot of feedback.
We love it.
We gotta deal with the cantankerous old men. Petroleum-based motorcycles aren't going anywhere. That's
right.
Let's be clear. I live in the area where the big three exists. We're not predicting another 35 to 40 years that EVs overtake petroleum-based vehicles on the road. We're bikers. We already live we're marginalized. So I don't know why we keep getting into these political conversations, bikers for this person and bikers. We are bikers. We're marginalized. We're already on the periphery. Don't get dragged into the fighting of civilians and everyday people, right? So when I say get rid of the cantankerous cats, we got to inspire. We got to say, hey, sit on the bike. Oh, you like that? Have a seat. Here, reach out for the handlebars. Because kid in 20 years is going to be saying, man, this old guy in Sturgis, they called him Detroit. He let me sit on his bike. I've been riding ever since, you know.
That's right.
But the cantankerous guys, we keep saying things like, this generation don't know anything. That's because we haven't taught them. This generation is lost. That's because we haven't led them. This generation doesn't ride. That's because we haven't invited them to. And so we think we're the holders of the torch forever. No, we just hold it to pass it on. So the way the sport survives is inviting people to ride, inspiring people, having them come look at your garage, having them sit on your bike, not beating them up verbally when they show up on an electric bike. Because trust me, I love my live wire, but I wear gasoline for cologne.
That's right.
And when I hear that bike fire up, I turn into that 9-year-old kid again. So they can show up on whatever, but when you fire that bike up, oh man, it's going to do what it did to us at 9, 10, 15, 20 years old. But if we're going, look at them, they're soft, they're the woke crowd. Let me tell you something about being woke. The only time I am not woke is when I'm asleep. And
that's right.
I am in the woke crowd. So we clear that up. The closest you come is when you're asleep. We got to stop taking taglines and beating people up with it. That's how we discourage the next generation. And so if they're wearing skinny jeans, I'm telling you, people going to come for you. Show them what the hell bottom looks like when you're riding on a cool bike. No, this old guy, I don't get the skinny jeans. Don't judge me. But we inspire them. We talk to them, and we don't talk down to them. We really invite them. Listen, I love hearing from the folks who've done this. I went to Ron Finch's house, and that's not the name drop. He lived 20 minutes from me. Just hearing him, or Dave Lightner, or Sugar Bear, or cats like Michael McCloskey, Keith Ball, just talk about their experience. They're the mentors from afar, as Barry said. So we should be that to these young people. Where it's going in the future, yes, there will be more electric two-wheel bikes on the planet. Nobody's coming to our panheads and knuckleheads. But if you play golf, you've been on an electric vehicle as long as you've been on the course. So quit, you know. Do you know the first land speed vehicle was called a torpedo? It was an electric car. First over 100 miles an hour was electric. In 1977, guy broke a land speed record on an electric Airstream motorcycle. This stuff has been around, but those of us that love it, we're going to tip the scale always towards petroleum. And I'm not trying to say don't save the planet. We do got to do better. But I'll eat less red meat if I can ride my gas-powered motorcycle. I'm just saying.
That's right. No, it's the truth. So, hey,
it's funny, man.
Go ahead, Ben.
That's what, quick observation. The word woke has changed the perception of woke. And it's really frustrating because a decade ago, woke used to mean that you're not taking everything at face value and you'd read into things and you'd, have the ability to critically think. And now it's been molded into this, somebody who's woke is this person who's radical left leaning or whatever. And I hate that because it's not really, it's completely changed the lexicon and it annoys me.
Thank the media. So they're the ones who keep spreading this poison.
Ben, I am happily married now. I'm telling you. But I'm blowing you a kiss. I'm not.
I'll take it, man.
You're absolutely right. We get into and it's with anything, we get into a very slippery slope where we don't do our research. And we're quick to call people sheep. The very nature of calling people sheep make you sheep, right?
Yep.
You're right. Woke was an acronym, and it was part of a lexicon that was being used in relationship to consciousness, to pushing back and not accepting anything. I'm really about to get you all in trouble. Most motorcyclists are woke. We're riding bikes. We're 1%.
That's right.
Of the American population doing what the world says we shouldn't do. When I had my crash, the doctor said, "Are you going to stop riding?" I said, "Sir, I'm waiting for the results to come back for you to tell me when I can ride again." And so you're absolutely right. It was about being aware. We're changing conversations again. And I tell people we talk politics over dinner, but that is one that has been co-opted to disparage people. And is dangerous because when we talk about the young people in the next generation, we're actually telling them, don't think and don't be a free thinker. Remember, as I said before, Dante, the quote is attributed to Dante. It may not be. I've did some research, it may not. But the hottest places in hell is reserved for those who in a moment of moral crisis maintain their neutrality. All I want people to do is think. Pick a side. But think. So yes, and we do it
think for yourself.
Constantly. I had a friend, when I talked about the live wire, he actually said, "I'm not part of that woke generation." The conversation was over. I said, "Hey, just try the live wire." I mean, he's still my friend. I didn't want to lose the friendship, so I didn't keep the conversation going. But you're right. If people look at these definitions and what it really meant, and it was for everybody to just be aware. I tell people this all the time when they say, "I hate the live wire." I said, "I did too." I said, "It was hideous. I wasn't riding it." I said, "But here's what I want you to do. Treat it like vegetables." They say, "What?" I said, "Just try it." I don't know if you've ever had what's the fish eggs?
Caviar.
Caviar.
So I didn't have caviar until I went to Germany. I took a group of students to Germany to see one of our teachers perform. I remember the movie Big with Tom Hanks had caviar and he scraped it off his tongue.
Yes.
But everybody I see makes caviar look great. That's how he did it. So I got the cracker, I spread the caviar on there. We're in Munich, Germany, and I bit into that thing. I scraped those eggs off of my tongue so fast. Now,
But you tried
I
it.
know people who love caviar. I don't, but I tried it. When people say you're just woke, I tell them, as a scientist, the closest you come to death is to be sleep. And I always tell them,
That's right.
I said, yeah, your body slows down, your major organs slow down, you're the most vulnerable in the animal world. So I'm very cautious when it comes to that. I'm very cautious labeling total groups in a particular position. I did a post recently on something that happened to me at a gas station. I struggled about doing the post, and I only did that because I didn't want people to go through what I go through. My social media is for my business. We can chat it up, but I'm so glad you made that, and you've done it clearer than I ever had. Okay, it has now changed its use in this lexicon to mean a bad thing. It's the same thing with choppers. Think about this. You were crazy if you rode a chopper. And people get upset now. I say, man, there's only two types of riders on the planet. Those that ride motorcycles and those that ride choppers. Oh, you can't say that. I said, Bruce Willis said it in Pulp Fiction and everybody thought it was gay.
That's right. It's not a motorcycle, baby. It's a chopper.
So yes,
One of the great lines. Yeah.
one of the great lines. That's why
Hey.
I did
Yeah.
that on my shirt. It's a chopper, baby, and the bike is called Shorty. And so I don't know if that made me woke, but I'm up. So let's get it.
All right. Good.
Nice, man.
Hey, you're building bikes, but you're also building people. Like you carry Detroit in your name. What does the city mean to your soul? And how does it shape the story, not just in the motorcycle world, but in the community you're building?
Oh, thank you. Every city you come from has a story to tell. I don't care if it's in the cornfields of Iowa, you get to tell a story. Detroit, for me, made me tough. People would say, without me wearing it on my head, you look like you're from Detroit or Chicago. I don't know where the swag came from. I don't like when people say Detroit is coming back. Detroit never left. I wish I would have been buying when it was not as expensive, but that's a whole nother story.
Right.
Yeah.
I love the city. I mean, I love the city. I just had a guy call me out in North Carolina. And he said, you're probably not even from Detroit. I said, that let me know you're not from Detroit. Because there's three things you're supposed to say when you're from Detroit or you're questioning somebody if they're from Detroit. What side of town, what high school, or you say the universal greeting of what up, though. If you don't say one of those, you're not from Detroit. And so I love the city. It really did make me able to go anywhere in the world. And it made me hyper vigilant. It gave me situational awareness that a lot of people do not have. And then watching, that's a good side, and some of that came from a negative side. Watching my brother abuse drugs, watching the mental institutions shutter their doors and put people on the streets. But I wouldn't trade Detroit for anything. I have all kind of education degrees from some of the best universities in the world. But the best school of learning for me was Detroit.
Yeah, the street of hard knocks. Yeah.
Street of hard knocks.
That's cool. We got our YouTube title now for this episode. What up, though, with Detroit?
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's it. All of the
Sounds
people
like a
would know
new
that,
blog
you
or
know.
something. That's awesome. So, what is next for Randy Detroit Hayward, man? What do you got coming down the pike? Are you just gonna keep doing what you're doing, building, teaching, mentoring? You got some other direction you're thinking of that you're maybe pursuing?
I will keep doing the shows, Detroit's Antique Motorcycle Show. I'm working now to get sponsors so I can present my museum somewhere around the country weekly. That's the Traveling Black History Museum.
Cool.
And then I just got to get somebody on my team so I can really launch and start getting my YouTube. I have a YouTube channel called Scooter Bomb Diaries, and just talk about the experience of meeting these folks on my journey. You know, people think there's too many YouTube channels and podcasts. No, it's not. All kind of people got stories to tell. The richest place on
That's
earth,
right.
cemetery. We're taking our gifts to the grave. So I'm trying to, that's the next big thing, because I left a job as a superintendent. Everybody think I retired. I didn't. I just quit. And you could starve doing that. So young people, don't follow my lead.
Yeah.
You know,
Don't do what I did, man.
Have a plan. Don't just quit. And so the next is launching the podcast and then finishing up the books I've been working on and getting them out. One has already been edited, waiting on the illustrator. The other two, the layout is being done. So by the end of the year, I should have those three available to the world.
Hey,
That's exciting, man. So one last quick question regarding that. You were talking about getting with museums. I just went to Wheels Through Time a couple weeks ago. And man, if you haven't been there recently, in the last probably 5 years or so since Matt's been going at it hard, that place, man, is absolutely wild. Have you guys gotten in there at all or having any talks with them?
I got in trouble. I was leaving North Carolina last week, hammering down I-40 to jump on 75. And I never, if I'm within 100 miles of Wheels Through Time, I never pass it. So a week ago, I was in Wheels Through Time, as I call them.
I just missed it.
Yeah, I was visiting family. I didn't stay long. I usually go in, I'm there all day. I stayed an hour or so. But for the folks who've never been to the museum that runs, they need to go to Wheels Through Time. I love we got some museums.
Absolutely.
Great music. We got Peterson and some bikes. You have
Barber.
You have the Gilmore. But there is no museum like Wheels Through Time where everything runs. Everything.
I know.
It's insane.
I know. It's awesome, man. Hey, quick question. Actually, it's going to be a two-part question. First question is what are you seeing in the industry? I mean, you've been in this game a super long time. What are you seeing in this industry that you're liking, that's kind of hitting your soul?
The young people on these choppers. That one there makes me cry. You got an 18-year-old kid to a 30-year-old, and I apologize, I'm calling them kids because they're younger than my kids. Seeing that, and we keep thinking, oh, the chopper thing is dead. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, it's if you was at Born Free and them cats rolling in and you know, it is. That's the part. There's a young guy here in Detroit named RJ. Call him Whole Shot. He's only 18 and he can put a 2025 Street Glide on one wheel. Well, I'm just trying to get him into the yeah, he's unbelievable. I'm trying to get him into the venture scene, into the choppers, into the old bike. If I can get him on the track, man, I would have, at least my team would bring home the checker flag, if not me, because I'm around the track.
That's good.
They call it racing. I call it pacing. But seeing these seeing the young people in the sport is so inspiring. In their action, questions, they're building bikes, they're riding, they're breaking bikes, they're racing. You got Brian Bowen Smith, one of the baddest photographers on the game, who could just travel the world, but he gets to go home, jump on his bike, and then his son Jonah jumps on his chopper and rides around with dad, and he's just 18, 19. Come on. I mean,
I know.
When you see that, the future is in good hands. And I told son, man, I just want to ride with you. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah. I mean, don't leave me. I just want to ride with you, you know. So yeah, you got cats out here. That's the inspiration. These young folks
So
are
you feel good. You feel good in your heart, man. Being a historian of this industry, you feel good that we got some good up and comers, man. We got so much young talent, so many guys out there, so talented that are just preserving history, making it new but keeping the old. Like Sean Jackson, you familiar with Sean Jackson
Ooh,
competition?
oh, listen.
Man,
Listen,
is that kid crazy? Is he a mad scientist or what, man?
You got so I knew of Sean Jackson, but I didn't get to really experience Sean Jackson until Sean and Kevin, we were all in Sturgis together, staying at the same house, right? And that's when I saw the madness, and they sent me down this rabbit hole of FXRs. Then I went to Sean's house to see what he does and his graciousness. He said, well, if I do this, you should see what Kevin does. And then to go spend time with Tom Banks, who says he's able to do what he does because of those guys. Yeah, you got Sean Jackson, you got Kevin, you got Aaron Lovelace, you got the young lady Truth out of California. You got a new guy with LA Choppers coming on the scene. Yeah, I'm excited. These cats.
Yeah.
You got Swab with the LA Choppers. You got Harley Drew. I mean, you got Sea Rider. I mean, I'm excited. All right.
All right, awesome,
I'm
man.
excited. I tell people, quit talking about the next generation. Remember this: what one generation tolerates, the next generation exaggerates. We got to do a better job at teaching. If your team loses, they do not fire the team; they fire the coach. This next generation is our team, and we're the coaches. If they're losing, it's because the coaches haven't done what they're supposed to do.
That's right. Hey, Detroit, to end the show, man, you've been at this for a long, long time. You touched a lot of people in a very positive way for a very long time. You've inspired people for a very long time. And when it's all said and done, even if it's 100 years from now,
I hope so.
how do you want the world of motorcyclists, enthusiasts, people who appreciate this industry to remember you as a man?
What that this guy loved people and he loved this.
Yeah, man. Agreed. Thank you for answering that.
And to remember this, there's more good people in the world than negative.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You just can't let the conversation be on the negative people. In any arena, motorcycle, politics, marriage, when people say, oh, marriages are 50% end in divorce, well, 50% make it.
That's right.
And so that's why we do our show, Detroit Antique Motorcycle, to promote the sport. I'm trying to give back to the sport that has given me so much. And I haven't done as much as a lot, and I've done more than many, right? And so my thing is, as Bear say, just do your thing. Keep your head down and make a good product. And our product is promotion. How do we promote the sport? So with Detroit Antique Motorcycle Show, we invite people out. Our next show is September the 8th at the Full Throttle. We're going to give out 60 damn rings and have people join our damn family. We got 15 legends we're going to recognize and 35 builders and some other rings going to be passed out. So we're just in the business to promote the sport. Similar to what you all are doing. You are the African culture on the African continent. Millennials ago, the information was shared verbally. And they were known as griots. You all, as I tell anyone who's using photography, social media, you are a modern day griot. This is how the story gets told. So thank you. that we
Right.
have to tell our
sir.
story in such a way that it lives on and also it inspires. So thank you for letting me bore you for this amount of time.
No, yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
It's not. By
right.
no means is it a bore, and we feel the same way. We feel your passion when you talk. I think anybody who's met you or crossed paths with you can see a genuine passion, and we're the same way. And this is why this platform for us, it was so important because we love this industry so freaking much, man. The people, it gets a bad rap from Hollywood, and you always have that 1% in any genre, but there's so many amazing people who have done so many amazing things from just passion of being on two wheels, man, and that breeze, in that wind going through your soul. And it's an undescribable feeling that only a small community truly feels. And for us to be able to get guys like you, man, and all the guests we've had on the show from all over the freaking world, man, and they all have this big smile on their face, man, just knows that we're doing the right thing. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Thank you. Thank you.
Definitely.
Yeah, you are
Yeah.
doing. You're
Yeah.
definitely
Detroit.
doing. Yes, sir.
I keep just a fun aside thing. All the episodes that we've done, I actually put in case YouTube ever burns to the ground or my computer goes down or something. I've got them on a storage drive that I keep in my safe. That way we can restore it, preserve it or whatever. But I got two last questions for you, man. Number one, what is the code to your storage unit? And then number two, for our listeners and
We
our
got a
viewers
first
on YouTube.
we got a first class ticket to Detroit, man. So we're coming.
Yeah. I'm going to put links for where people can find you, track with you on the description in the podcast episodes, but also on YouTube. So you don't have to spell stuff out, but what are the best places to follow along with you? What can I add to our notes?
All right, I'll give you the code for the storage
Got
first.
Superbug
The
Diaries.
code.
You can just just text it to us. Don't tell the other people,
I'm
man.
gonna make it public. It's 365 Sig Sauer. Look that up. 365 Sig Sauer.
That's so
Is
funny.
it the macro?
No, I should not promote
The-
gun
the
violence.
XL.
I'm just joking.
What are you talking about? You're just naming a code. What do you mean?
You're right. I just let in my code. 6 hours the code, or
Yeah.
as we say in the street, all year. So
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
the way to catch me out here is Detroit Antique Motorcycles. There's an underscore between those. Detroit Antique Motorcycles. My other Instagram where I talk about Black history is Traveling Black History Museum. And I've had so many people reach out. We travel to folks and bring artifacts. You might be doing something on antebellum, politics, sports. We got all kind of stuff. Signed Muhammad Ali robe, the whole nine. Motorcycles. Lately, it's been people been wanting the exhibit on motorcycles. And then my YouTube is Scooter Bum Diaries. Yeah. When I was called a scooter bum years ago by a friend of mine, Joe, I said, man, don't call me that. I'm not a scooter bum. He's like, that's a compliment. If you get the title scooter bum, you really in it. So,
That's right. Hey, can I ask you a question? I saw this last posting you did. You were you a guest speaker at the Buffalo Soldiers meeting?
I'm a Buffalo soldier. I am a,
You are.
yeah, I'm
Awesome, man.
I'm an officer out of our Detroit chapter.
I've been trying to get the president on this show for a year and a half. I've been emailing him. I've touched every person and talked to every person but him. And they're all like, hey, Serge, listen, we'll try. He's tough. All this stuff coming back. I'm like, please, man, it'd be so awesome to hear the whole story of this. Well, a lot of people are just so unaware of it. I think it'd be such a great thing to talk about the history of that.
Absolutely. So what I'll do is I'll reach out to both the national president, Motown, as well as the founder. The founder is still living and active. He can tell you why he started, why he
That
decided
is so amazing.
not to have a 1%, why we stand on 3 pillars of riding, service, and education. We have 110 chapters around the country and 1 chapter in Germany. And we do a lot of philanthropic work. Each year we give out $100,000 in scholarship for students to go to school. We were just in North Carolina with an organization there where we helped, we serviced there, as well as gave a monetary donation. So the Buffalo Soldiers and Troopers Motorcycle Club, known as the National Association of Buffalo Soldiers and Troopers Motorcycle Clubs, do a lot of philanthropic work, a lot of riding, and a lot of educating. And then
Yeah, and they give back a lot, man. And that's the thing that I love. It's just I actually have a great story for you if you got 1 second. I did I did a solo trip up north on the motorcycle. I left Florida and went out. I originally grew up in Boston, outside of Boston, and I did a motorcycle trip out there. And I had some issues in South Carolina, and I was pulled over to the side by myself, right, on the bike. Something happened. I think I can't remember exactly what was going on, but this group of guys pulled over. They weren't on bikes; they were in a car. It was two guys, right? And they're like, "Hey, man, you all right? You need some help?" Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, "Man, I don't know what's going on. The bike's not running right. Whatever." Both guys were officers in the Buffalo Soldiers in the South Carolina area, right? They ended up going back to their house, got a motorcycle trailer, came back, got me, took me to their mechanic, and got me back on the road the next day, man. And I was like, and let me hang with them at their place, crash with them at their place.
that's the Buffalo
like-
Soldiers. That's us.
Yeah, this is about 16, 17 years ago this happened. And I've been just grateful ever since, man. And that's why I've been chasing them for like 2 years, man, to get them on the show. Because I think I love what they do. And everybody I've met throughout, man, has been nothing but a stand-up dude. And I think the story and what they give back to the community is completely hidden and untold, only known by them. And I think the world and at least the states need to hear what's going on in the type of great work that they do as an organization.
Thank you. Yeah, we do serve. We are one of the largest motorcycle clubs in the world. We have all kind of folks in the club, but we believe in helping. And so until then, because people was thinking, well, you had to be military, you had to be a first responder. No, we have a lot of veterans. We have a lot of first responders. We claim no territory or property, just want to do good work. But we also represent the Congressional Act of 1866, where there was regiment signed for all Black troops. And so that's why you'll see on our vest 66 and 44, because they were around from 1866 to 1944 as part of the military.
That's incredible history.
And so we do a lot of work for the community, and we ride. And if we, as with a lot of clubs, we see people stranded, our job is to help.
Yep. Hey, what's your schedule? What's your schedule going to be in Sturgis this year? Where are you? And where so people can come by and say hello and check you out. Give us your schedule real for the upcoming days.
I'm trying to get in on the 3rd to ride for the medicine wheel ride to bring awareness to missing and murdered Indigenous women. That's on the 3rd. And then on the 4th, I'm trying to do something I never get to do when I'm in Sturgis. I'm going to do some riding, but earlier that day, I'm going to be over at Full Throttle at a chopper show hosted by Stevenson Cycle. And then Tuesday, of course, we're going to be at the, I'm going to be riding. And then Wednesday, I should say, we're going to be at the induction ceremony to the new folks inducted into Sturgis Hall of Fame.
Hey,
And
Michael Lichter's in there, man.
yeah,
Good
he's
for him. So deserving. He's a good dude.
a great heart and great photographer. And then on the 6th, I'll be hosting motorcycle games at the Full Throttle Pappy Hole Campground on the 7th. That's from 2 to 5. On the 7th
Yeah.
from 2 to 5, I'll be having a TED talk with some of my artifacts about why I collect the history and actually letting people see the artifacts and ask questions and have a Q&A. And then we have a signing session with Chantel, who's one of the most dynamic riders in the country. She rides everywhere, did 48 states in 23 days. Then we have Freddie Franklin out of Milwaukee. He owns one of the baddest Coney Islands. He'll be signing. That's on the 7th from 2 to 5. And then on the 8th, I wrap up my time in Sturgis with my show, Damn Sturgis 85th Rally Show at the Full Throttle Pappy Hole Campground from 2 to 5. The show is free. I don't know if I have any more spots for invited builders, but if you all are going to be in Sturgis and you have a pre-96, call me when we get offline. Maybe I'll kick somebody out the show and put your bikes in. No, I won't kick. I just give you my ring. I won't.
That's awesome.
Invitations are full,
Right on.
but we always try to accommodate folks as best we can. So those 3 days, and then on Saturday, I'm going to just ride all around Spearfish, Deadwood, then Sunday I hammer back home. And give
What bike do you bring with you?
I was going to bring my 33 over shovel that was done by Cabana Dan. He lives in Sturgis, has a Sugar Bear set up. But I'm going to bring my Born Free bike from last year, the 2024 Street Glide with the tank shift and foot clutch. And see how that handles in the hills and the switchback. I say that like I'm a rider. I ain't trying to go that fast. I'm going to take my time.
Yeah, man. It's the speed is for the young guys.
That's right.
As you get old, you just learn to appreciate it and being on 2 wheels, man. Low and slow. Enjoy and breathe the scenery, man. That's what it's about now.
Well, if you come out to the show, a friend of mine who received a legend ring, Jerry Thompson out of South Carolina, is bringing 2, I think 1981 Sturgis, and we're going to put around on 2 Sturgis in Sturgis.
Nice.
Cool.
The original Sturgis, huh?
That's right.
The Willie G Sturgis machine, right?
Willie G Sturgis machine, absolutely.
All right, killer, man. Well, hey,
That's one more thing before we sign off, Detroit. Your episode, you just mentioned Willie G. It made me think about that gas tank, the award. There's that episode that you did with Prism Supply Co., the My Garage show. That I'm gonna add that to the show notes. It's like 12 minutes or something long, guys. If you have not seen that, check it out because it goes in. You mentioned your living room earlier, and it is such a cool spot, man. So I'm definitely gonna include that in the show notes. You guys, check it out. It's awesome.
That Willie G tank.
Great thing to watch.
I did a ride in. They used to do a perpetual trophy. They still have it. I did a ride in. I showed my 29. Did 1 best in class. I was packing up to leave, and they said best in show. I was leaving because I knew I wasn't leaving. I was trying to get back to Detroit. And when they said this bike is near and dear to Willie G's heart, I said, what? Because I know his dad and 2 of his uncles rode across country on the 1929 DL. And sure enough, my bike won the Willie G award. I got that gas tank that you see in the clip, and my name got placed on the Willie G Perpetual Trophy.
that's killer, man.
Wow, man.
That's killer.
So cool.
Hey, Detroit, man, from the bottom of our hearts, brother. I can't even say a pleasure because I've always, I just thank you. Thank you for taking the time, man. And you're a gracious man. And man, we just all the success, health to you. And I know our paths will cross again. So kick ass up in Sturgis. Have fun. Be safe out there. And continue what you're doing, man, because the world needs more people like yourself.
All right. I appreciate you all, and thanks for having me on. What you and Ben are doing really does make sure that this information about our love gets out to the world. And we're bringing back the 60s. We're love children. We're spreading the love of Moto.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Peace and love, man.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Man, Detroit, we freaking love you, man. We can't wait to see you
Love
again
you
soon.
all as well. Appreciate you.
All right, buddy.
Definitely. Be good.